Welcome to the Fast Leader Podcast, where we uncover the leadership life hacks that help you to experience breakout performance faster and rocket to success. And now, here's your host, customer and employee engagement expert, and certified emotional intelligence practitioner, Jim Rimbaugh.
Hey, Fast Leader Legion. Today's episode was actually recorded live at Call Center Week. I had the opportunity to chat with Kelli Barabasz of the Notary Association, and she shares some really important information in regards to making an impact on that burnout and turnover problem that so many of us experience, especially in contact centers. Much like this wisdom that is shared, we provide additional insights for you to get on the show notes page from Kelli's episode. So just go to fastleader.net/Kelli Barabasz. Our goal on the Fast Leader Show is to really make a difference for others and you. So if you could subscribe, download, and share and recommend the Fast Leader Show so that we can help even more move onward and upward faster. Now, on to the interview with Kelli. It's time to put humanity in your contact center. Measuring your contact center agents using mirror surveys is what monkeys do. You want agent and executive buy-in. Then you need the survey calibration process. And it's only available at the award-winning post-call IVR survey programs from Customer Relationship Metrics. Move onward and upward now by going to customersgradethecall.com/fast and getting your $7,500 rapid results package for free. Okay, Fast Leader Legion, today I'm excited because we're talking about something that's critically important in the contact center, and that is helping your agents be more successful. And the guest that we have on the show today has a great framework that she's been using for many years and has actually been spread throughout the entire organization. Kelli Barabasz hails from the very small town of Westwood in Northern California. Although there were only 1,500 residents in Westwood, it was not boring. Kelli found ways to experience all there was to offer in her young life. She enjoyed spending time with her parents, Gary and Gloria, her older sister, Kyra, and her younger brother, Troy. The close-knit family accompanied Kelli to her many extracurricular activities: volleyball, basketball, softball, and band. She was a competitive player in everything she did and was almost always selected as team captain or lead on all of her teams. It was at this point that Kelli discovered she had a knack for leading teams. Kelli and her family moved to Portland, Oregon when she was 15. She went on to graduate high school and attended college where she studied general education and pre-law courses. Unfortunately, her scholarship money ran out, so Kelli did what came naturally, and she joined the U.S. Army. After completing boot camp and training, Kelli was stationed at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Kelli had the honor of joining 3 other soldiers as the first group of women assigned to the Special Operations Support Battalion, responsible for supporting the elite Navy SEALs and Army Rangers. It was while serving in the Army that she went and married her husband, Jason. After being honorably discharged from the Army, Kelli and Jason moved back to Portland, Oregon, where Kelli began her career in the call center industry as a customer service representative. She was one of 22 agents when she started, but when she left 10 years later, she had advanced to become the Director of Operations and Workforce Management at the company that employed over 3,200 agents and in 5 countries. The company was acquired, and Kelli spent the next 12 years working in various locations all over the United States, at an outsourcer in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and then on to a retail chain, QVC, in Port St. Lucie, Florida, next to a pharmacy benefit company, SXC Health Solutions in Phoenix, and now she is the Vice President of Customer Care for the National Notary Association. Kelli and her husband Jason currently live in the Los Angeles area and have been married for 24 years and have 3 adult children, Dylan, Alexis, and Dominic. Kelli says her greatest personal accomplishment to date has been raising her 3 children. Kelli Barabasz, are you ready to help us get over the hump?
I am ready. Let's see, turn this thing on. I'm ready. Let's go.
No, I appreciate you being here. Now, I've given our listeners a little bit about you, but can you tell us what your current passion is so that we can get to know you even better?
Oh, absolutely. So, probably it's because what we're speaking about today, my passion is career development, helping people understand their potential. And so for me, this is exactly what Jim is talking about today and interviewing me on today. This is my passion, is helping those who don't necessarily know where to go and helping them figure out how to get there.
Now, in order to prep for this particular interview, we talked about the process of going through that career path implementation. And I think you had implemented it at other organizations besides the Notary Association, but what it has morphed and grown into is really quite tremendous. Can you kind of tell us that progression and what has happened there?
Sure. Working in just a call center environment, when I was in an outsourcer, I started this about 18 years ago. and it was just a call center, so there was no other real advancement for the agents outside of just call center job positions. So the career path really started on how do I become a team lead or a supervisor or a manager, and how do I move up within those ranks. And then it evolved throughout the different organizations that I've been in, because we found, you know what, just because you're in a call center doesn't mean that that's really what your career path is. So we started looking at other opportunities around, what if they wanted to be in accounting? What if they wanted to be in communications, or they wanted to be in, business development or sales? What could we do differently to career path agents, not just through the call center, hierarchy and what they thought was the only path that they had?
Now, when you first introduced this, the very first time you introduced it at an organization, what kind of reception did it receive?
Why would you think that people really want a career path in a call center? That was really the response I got from our upper management, and I said, you know what? Because I want to advance within the call center, and I want to grow, and I want to develop. And so what makes you think that they don't? And so, I was very, very fortunate that my CEO looked at me and said, all right, play with it, Kelly, go ahead, see what you can do. And then years later, it just evolved, and that was with the first company I was with, which was Liebridge for 10 years. And, I'm happy to say that there are various employees that I helped career path that are VPs today, directors today, and managers, workforce managers or workforce directors. And the thought that, just being able to run with something, take it, and really evolve that into something great has been tremendous.
So I know a lot of times with the contact centers that I've been in and managed is that a lot of people want to discourage and stop the whole career pathing process because they think that the contact centers where most of our employees reside. We have, just for example, 500 employees that are actually in the call center, and then we have just very, very few support positions and very, very few positions in other parts of the organization. And they're like, why would we want this entire group to float? But that's not the way it works, does it?
Absolutely not. You have agents that want to be agents. You have agents that want to be the best agents they can be. Not every single person either has the want to move up or even the ability to move up. So you really have to take a look at that individual and see what are their strengths, what opportunities do they have. And if tomorrow one of my agents says, my career path goal is in 1 year I want to be CEO, you have to be realistic. You have to talk to this person and see, what is your background? What is your agenda? What work are you willing to put into this? And so, obviously most companies, when you look at career pathing as well, they think, gosh, I'm going to end up losing some of these people probably if you continue to career path them, Kelly, because there's nowhere for them to go. That's true. You have to be willing to lose good employees, but you also have to know that you helped those employees move to that next level.
Well, in addition, what I've found is when you support and help and coach people outside of the organization in a successful way, that comes back tenfold.
Absolutely does. It comes back over and over again. There's quite a few individuals that, not just myself, but some of my staff at Career Path that, we've made relationships with in different businesses throughout, years and years, and with their support. It's amazing to me that I can look at some individuals that are actually here at Call Center Week this year, and they've come up to me. I didn't know they were even going to be here, and they're managing a booth, and they're like, oh my God, this is Kelly, it's my old boss, and it's wonderful to see that. It's like, wow, you went on to great things, and you know that now with LinkedIn and all these great things, so you can follow people. I love following people and seeing where they live from the point of when they left me.
So I would dare to say that when you think about the industry as a whole, we have a leadership crisis. And actually the leadership crisis, I should say, is in many different industries because of this whole development component. So when you start talking to other organizations, because I know you do have those discussions, you talked about connecting and networking, what questions are they asking you about career pathing?
You know, a lot of times it's the same questions that I dealt with 10, 15, 20 years ago. Does it work? How does it work? What percentage of your staff does it work with? How much money do you have to put into career pathing? How much time do you have to take out of the day? And is it worth it? Bottom line, is it worth it? And absolutely, the answer is absolutely it's worth it. It takes time, a lot of time. It takes a lot of resources. It takes a lot of purchasing training materials or looking at different options for these individuals because things change every single day. You know, if someone's career path is to get into the tech world, it's different today than it's going to be tomorrow. So if I try to give them training material that I pulled out 3 years ago, it's outdated. So, you know, you just kind of have to stay up with it and be willing to do whatever it takes.
Now, the return on investment for doing career pathing can come in many different ways. You and I had the opportunity to talk about your turnover experience. Tell us a little bit about that.
So we found, obviously, call centers have big attrition problems. Typically, you're starting at a very low wage, sometimes lower wage with commissions. And we found that using the career pathing techniques, our attrition has dropped significantly. When I started with the organization I'm with today, the National Notary Association, our turnover was 150%. We're in Los Angeles. It's obviously a more difficult place to staff. Our turnover last year, we lost 1 individual. This year, 0. So we do not have attrition anymore. The reason is not just career pathing, but culture and many, many things, you know, good leadership, so on and so forth. But I truly think that career pathing is the key to keeping good people because they are ready and willing to move up. And within our organization, in the 5 years that I've been there, we have career path 18 individuals to the next level within our organization. In the marketing department, communications department, we have 2 that went over to IT, got certifications that we paid for and helped them continue on. So I think it's definitely worth it.
So when you start thinking about the different generations that we talk about in the workforce today, and you mentioned that you had started the career pathing journey for yourself many years ago. Well, that was a different generation that was in the workforce. So how has it differed in regards to what the employee wants from a career path perspective then versus now?
Oh, it's definitely different. I have 3 children that are 18, 21, and 23. So we know that the drive, I guess their entire careers are different than what we were looking at 25 years ago. And so we found that the engagement is much different. The engagement before was sitting down with an individual and talking to them and saying, what is it that you want? What can we do for you? Now it's more electronic. So it's, okay guys, here is a career path folder. And just to explain, this one is in paper form just for here today. But they wanted to be able to look up the different trainings that they thought would entice them to move to those next levels. So the trainings are different. What we've been purchasing for those next level, for these individuals is much different than it was just, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. So previously it was just books. People read books. Now they want e-books. They want to listen to the book in the car, or audiobooks. They want online training. They don't want to go sit in a training class. So we're evolving as the generations evolve. And that's what's really, really makes a significant difference.
Well, I can imagine. I mean, when you start thinking about developing people, when you start thinking about culture, all of these things, there's a lot of passion that's associated with that. And one of the things that we like on the Fast Leader Show is to hear the quotes that are favorites from our guests. Do you have a favorite one you can share?
I actually do, and my current CEO is just a great guy. And prior to coming here, the National Notary Association, I was always afraid to make a mistake. You just don't screw up. If you screw up, you can lose your job. what do you do if you have a mistake, and how big of a mistake before you do lose that job? Well, I was actually leading a project about 2 years ago, and it wasn't going on task at all. I kept saying, oh my gosh, I can't get these people to work, I'm not going to hit my deadlines, things aren't going to happen. And my boss said to me, you know what, Kelly? Mistakes are going to happen, timelines are going to be missed. But there's one thing to remember, be perfect in your recovery. You make a mistake, be perfect in your recovery, and everything will be okay. And since that time, I realized, you know what? Nobody's perfect. Nobody can do everything right the first time every time. And so that is probably my favorite quote.
That's a good quote. I think that also applies for our frontline staff, right? I mean,
absolutely.
Mistakes are going to happen. It's how we recover.
That's right.
So I know when you start talking and had the opportunity to learn a little bit more about your background, being in the military, being in charge of those special forces group, I mean, that's just amazing. I can only imagine the stories you could tell for that. But there's a lot of humps that we have to get over in life, and they teach us a lot. Is there a time that you had to get over the hump and it helped you?
So it's kind of funny that this is the type of manager I am today is much different than when I first started. The reason being is I was in the military. My dad was in the military. I grew up with a very, very strict family. You do this, you do this, you do this, and you do not go outside of those boundaries. And so when I first started leading, 25 years ago, back at Liebridge, one of the things that I did, I had the best team, the most sales. I had the best of everything. I had to be the best at everything I did. And the manager who managed me, she took a look at me and she's like, well, can I talk to you? And I said, absolutely. She said, do you know why your team performs? I said, because I'm good. She said, yeah, you are, you're good. But you really truly know why your team performs. And I said, why? And she said, they perform out of fear of you. They do not perform for you. They perform out of fear of you. They don't want to make a mistake. So that is why they're performing. I went home that day and said, yeah, right. That's not true. I know. They all like me. There's no way. I perform because I'm the best. And I learned a lesson, that's for sure.
So how long did it take for you to actually learn that lesson?
I went home and stewed for about 2 days. And at the end of the 2 days, I decided, you know what, I'm going to ask one of my supervisors that works for me. So I knew she was going to be honest because she told me everything. And so I pulled her in and I said, you know what, tell me about my leadership style. And she goes, you're great. I said, no. Tell me why the team performs for me. She says, because they're scared to death of me, Kelly. You really want to know why? And I said, what do you mean they're scared to death of me? And she said, they don't want to make a mistake because they're afraid of what consequences will follow. And I thought, really? I'm not mean. When they don't perform, I bring them in the office and I talk to them and I'm talking with them saying, you know what? You got to perform better. You have to do it. You want more money? Perform better. And they would walk out and okay. Then, when she said that, I thought, wow, is this real? Is it true? Is my style militant? Am I the manager that people really don't want to work for? And I realized that was the case. So, it was a rude awakening, but thank heavens that my manager 23 years ago chose to tell me that and helped me change the path that I was taking.
Well, but the part that you played in that was huge because a lot of people just take that, stew for the 2 days and just continue to do what they've always done, right? And maybe even move on to another organization and still their behavior never changes. So for you to go through that transition, how did you do that? Because changing behavior doesn't happen overnight. So where did you start?
So where I started was, I went back to that manager who told me about my style and I said, tell me what I can do differently. tell me how I can change this. And it was a shock to me because I really thought, I'm a top performing manager here. I'm doing great. My staff is doing great. So it took a little bit of, pulling back and saying, all right, I'm not the best manager here. How do I change that? So she put me in a few classes. I read some books. It still didn't change overnight. It took me about 12 months to understand who I was, how I could manage better, how I could manage differently, and, looking at different leaders out there. And I actually went to a few different conferences where I talked to different leaders and found what do you look for in yourself? I had to change who I was. I had to realize that people didn't want to be managed by, the iron fist and saying, you're going to do it this way, you're going to do it that way. That was military. That's what I had to do there. But in the real world, I had to learn that people wanted to be respected. And people, if you respect them, they respect you back. And I think that over the next 22 years in my career, I had the opportunity to evolve, and I continue to evolve. As the generations change and the way that people want to be managed changes, I've had to change with that too. I can't manage even the way I did 5 years ago because the people are different and their expectations are different.
So I know when you start going through a transition like that, oftentimes you don't know what effect is actually happening to your people. Now, did you have the luxury of actually having that team stay with you while you were going through the transition? And if you did, when did you start getting feedback from them of them noticing?
So I actually did stay with that team, but what I actually did, I pulled them in as I started going through this, and I asked them to give me feedback as I went through this. I said, I want you guys to know I didn't realize the type of manager I was. I want you guys to know I still have these high expectations. I'm not going to lower those expectations of what I have, or you shouldn't either. But I want you guys to tell me when I'm leading you in a way that you're not comfortable. I want you guys to tell me, hey, we would like to have this, or could we change it to that? I started asking them for their opinions. I started asking them for their feedback on my performance. And that was significant. And we've all had, everyone's had a 365 done on them. I did one on myself. I said, you know what, guys? I want all of you to fill this out. I want you to tell me now, and I want you to tell me in a year from now what's changed. And it was significant. The change was significant. And I'll tell you what, reading those initial feedback, when I got those first ones, when I first handed those out, it took everything to not want to quit. It took everything to not want to walk away and say, you know what, this is too much. Let me go somewhere else and be the best leader I can be there. But I had to really look deep inside myself and say, is this really the career I'm going to take? And if so, then I need to change me.
You bring up a really good point, and thanks for sharing that. You bring up a really good point about the 360 process, and that a lot of organizations institute 360s and do it in a way that is actually detrimental because they use it for stack ranking of their leaders, and they use it in order to compensate them or not compensate them.
Right.
However, what you just described is really the way that 360s were intended to be used. And you used it in a way that was quite vulnerable and made a huge difference for your career because you've gone on to, like you had said earlier, create a lot of leaders that are in this industry now. So we thank you for that. So I know you have a lot of things going on. You have some good work that you're still doing with the Notary Association. But when you start looking at, family and all those things, what's one of your goals?
You know what? I would have to say my goal right now is to just continue on with what I'm doing. My son just graduated from high school, the final child, get out, go on to college. And so I will have more time, I think, to dedicate to my staff than I had in the past raising 3 children. So my future goals are just to find a way to career path more people. Time constraints has really stopped me from doing as much as I would like to with it. And training my staff to be better leaders in the career path arena. And so my goal is to continue training people continue getting the word out to not just my own staff, but others, so that they can career path in the future.
And the Fast Leader Legion wishes you the very best. All right, before we move on, let's get a quick word from our sponsor. It's a massive mistake to promote or hire contact center supervisors and leave them to figure out how to make their way to success. Call Center Coach both develops and unites the next generation of contact center leaders. Through our e-learning and community, individuals gain knowledge and skills in the 6 core competencies that is the blueprint that develops high-performing contact center supervisors. Successful supervisors do not just happen. Go to callcentercoach.com to learn about enrollment and download your copy of the Supervisor Success Path ebook now. All right, here we go, Fast Leader Legion. It's time for the Hump Day Hoedown. Okay, Kelly, the Hump Day Hoedown is a part of our show where you give us good insights fast. So I'm going to ask you several questions, and your job is to give us robust, yet rapid responses that are going to help us move onward and upward faster. Kelli Barabasz, are you ready to hoedown?
Of course, let's go.
All right. So what do you think is holding you back from being an even better leader today?
I think we just talked about this one a little bit. Time constraints. Not having enough time for those individuals that I really want to have. So I think that's holding me back right now, just for personal life and work life. So I'm really, looking forward to my son going on to college and me having a little time to put into the career path for folks.
What is the best leadership advice you have ever received?
Never give up. That leader 25 years ago who talked to me and said, you know what, Kelly, you can do this. Never give up.
What is one of your secrets that you believe contributes to your success?
Being humble. I think you have to be humble to be successful.
What do you feel is one of your best tools that helps you lead in business or life?
Best tools is listening to everyone around.
What would be one book, and it could be from any genre that you'd recommend?
It's The Chameleon, and it's a great book.
Okay, Fast Leader listeners, you can find links to that and other bonus information from today's show by going to fastleader.net/Kelli Barabasz. Okay, Kelly, this is my last Hump Day Hoedown question. Imagine you were given the opportunity to go back to the age of 25, and you have been given the opportunity to take the knowledge and skills that you have now back with you, but you can't take everything back. You can only choose one. So what skill or piece of knowledge would you take back with you, and why?
I would actually take back the ability to follow every bit of technology that's out there. Because as a leader and being in this industry for 25 years, you kind of go status quo. And then you come to shows like this and you're like, there's what kind of technology? So I would definitely take that with me, following all the different technology that's out there.
Kelly, it was an honor to spend time with you today. Can you please share with the Fast Leader Legion how they can connect with you?
Oh, absolutely. You can just definitely look me up on LinkedIn. And also through the National Notary Association, if you go out there, there's a link in our folks out there, so you can look up our leadership. Just link on that and you can email me directly.
Kelli Barabasz, thank you for sharing your time and knowledge. And the Fast Leader Legion honors you and thanks you for helping us get over the hump. Thank you for joining me on the Fast Leader Show today. For recaps, links from every show, special offers, and access to download and subscribe, if you haven't already, head on over to fastleader.net so we can help you move onward and upward faster.